Hi, I'm Amy and I'm an artist here at Zieler Art Supplies, and today I'm going to be talking you through the process of acrylic pouring. So here I have the Zieler acrylic pouring bundle set, which comes with everything you need to get started with acrylic pouring. It comes with very generous tubes. So this is the one great thing about this set, is how big the tubes are. You could do so many pieces of artwork with these size tubes, and also you've got 3 canvases. So that's plenty to get started. So 3 pieces of art to get started with. It comes with this plastic wrap, which is really good for protecting your tables, which we definitely need to do because pouring can get a little bit messy. The PVA glue is what we're going to mix with our acrylic paint, so it acts as our pouring medium. The cups is to do the mixing, and inside you'll see you've got some drawing pins. These are for pushing into the back of the canvas, which helps it to hover off the table, so when they dry you won't get all the kind of sticky marks around the edge, and it just keeps it really neat. And then we have our spatulas, which are really good for mixing up our paints. So to start with, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about colour mixing, because this set comes with the primary colours, which is really good because it means we can make such a variety of colours. And half of pouring is to think about which colours we want to mix together to get some beautiful effects. Then I'm going to go through 3 different pouring processes, so show you 3 different techniques on how to get started and make some beautiful pieces of art. So we've got our primary colours, and on this piece of paper I'm just going to show you some colour options we have for mixing. So they might be pretty obvious, but everyone's at different levels, and if you haven't done much colour mixing before, it's really simple. So we can make this lighter blue by adding white, and obviously we can go as many shades light as we wanted. We then added a little bit of yellow into this. We're going to get a nice tropical green colour. So that's the blue and the yellow. And then obviously with that, the more blue you add, the darker the green. And the more yellow, the lighter and brighter, more tropical colour. So now with our yellow, nice and bright yellow, we see add a little bit of red. We're going to get a really bright orange. Obviously more yellow, becomes a little bit lighter. Add some white to that, you get a nice peachy colour. Oh, then we've got our red colour, which again nice and bright. If we wanted to add some white to this, we're going to get pink, and obviously you can make that as light as you want. Add a little bit of yellow in with this pinky white. We'll get a nice coral colour. So you can see by mixing these simple colours we can get other colours, and this can be very helpful when making our pouring paints to know which colours mixed together get what result. Cool, then the red with our blue gives us quite a dark purple. So if we want to lighten this, adding some white, a bit more of a lilac. And then the more red you add in, we start to come a bit more kind of mauvey coloured, and the more blue, the darker we would get. So a little simple sheet like this can help you understand colour mixing if you're unsure. But this is basically what we're going to do into our pots, mix our chosen and desired colours, and then we're going to pour them out. So next we need to set up our table for pouring. Okay, so to set up for pouring, I've just got this plastic sheet that came with the set, and I've laid it over my table. So now I'm not going to get anything messy. It is actually a bag, so what I've done is I've ripped it in half and I've kept the other half, and I can use that again later, so that's handy. And then when we're mixing our paints to turn it into a pouring paint, we want to aim for the consistency of kind of double cream. So in a cup, I'm just going to show you what the ratios are. So I'm going to start off, I'll create a yellow pouring colour. So I'm going to squeeze some of the paint out into the cup. Handy because these cups are clear, you can see how much paint you're pouring out, which is great. So it's equal measures of 1 part paint, 1 part glue and 1 part water. So you can start off quite small. You probably want to, make your portions of paint because the canvases are quite little, so you don't need a huge amount to begin with. But you probably want to go a little bit more than I've put in. So I'm going to do, can you see just a small measure in the bottom there? So on this cup, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 rings of paint. Then I'm going to plop the PVA glue in. So you just want to top it up with a little bit of PVA glue. So you've got a slightly more paint to PVA glue. So I've got 6 rings of paint and 3 rings of PVA glue. Then topping this up with the water. I'm going to start off with 2 rings of water because we can always add more water, so you can start off small and kind of build it up as you're mixing. But yeah, as you can see the cup, I've got my division, and then I'm going to get a spatula and mix this together. So you want to give it a good stir, making sure you're mixing in all the paint. We don't want any lumps in there or anything like that. So this can take a little bit of a while to make sure you mix it all together. And once you've mixed it all in and found that there's no more lumps, you can just lift up your spatula, let it pour out, and you'll see you have a nice runny consistency. So just kind of like double cream, a thick runny consistency. So it runs, and you also want to make sure when you're pouring it out like that, that it's not lumpy. If you're seeing lumps, it means you haven't done enough mixing. But you just want it nice and runny. So not too runny like milk, and not too thick so that it doesn't run, so just that kind of in between. So there we go. So then you want to make up a couple of colours. So for my first canvas, I'm going to use, I think I'm going to go for 4 colours. You can do as many colours as you want, but starting out with 3 or 4 is quite a good place to start at. Okay, so I've got my mixed paints ready, and I've chosen to do a coral colour, and I got this by mixing the white with the yellow and the red. And then I have my yellow paint, all nice and smooth, no lumps, good creamy consistency, my red, and also the white. So I'm going to start off by putting this white down onto the base. So now you don't always have to put this base down, but a bit of base paint onto the canvas just helps the surface to be nice and slippery. So when we add our paints on, you get a really fluid pour. So I'm just using the palette knife to spread this around the page. Just a nice thin coat of paint onto the canvas. So I'm going to show you the flip cup technique for this one. And for this, we're going to pop all of our paints into one cup, and we're going to just flip it over and let the colours all spill out and create whatever design. So in any kind of order you want to put a little bit of paint, all of each colour, into this cup. And because this is a small canvas, we want to fill it up to around kind of like half the cup size, so that we've got a good amount of paint to spread round. So you've got to think whatever paint you put in first will be the last colour to come out of the cup. So I'm going to start with the lightest colour first. So I'm going to put some yellow in here. And obviously remember, darker colours are more dominating. So I'm going to use more kind of my lighter colour and less of my darker colour. And then I'm going to put some of my peach colour in. So I've put in more yellow and peach than I will do red. The red I'm just going to put a small little splash in. Then here I have my cup with all my colours ready, and I'm just going to flip it over and pour it out onto the canvas. So just like that. Cool. Then you can pick up the canvas and spread this around. So watching as all the paint bleeds into one another. So doing the flip cup can get quite random designs. Each time will be very different depending on the amount of colours you use and how it kind of gets flipped. But yeah, you can choose whether you want to leave in a bit of that kind of white underneath and have this interesting pattern. And then what we're going to do, if you have a straw at home, or if not, you can just blow on it without the straw. We're going to blow on it. And you'll see some cells kind of start to pop. The more you blow, you can also get the white paint to reveal from underneath. Cool, so as you can see, you get some really cool effects as all the paint kind of bleeds into each other. So a good thing about having lots of paint and having these canvases is if you didn't like the way it turned out, you can actually scrape the paint off. I'm going to do it back into the cup here, and you can do it again. So you can play around with it. So while it's wet, it literally just scrapes off, and then you can give it a wipe with a tissue and it will be fresh to use again. So then a little rinse in the sink. This canvas is now clean and ready to use again. So on this freshly washed canvas, I'm just going to show you the second flip cup technique. So that's doing it onto a dry canvas. So rather than wetting it first like we did with the white, we're going to do it straight to dry. So again, with a similar process, I'm going to put all the colours into one cup. So I'm just going to empty the peach into the yellow cup, and then I'm going to put the red in there also. So I've got quite a fair bit of paint in this cup now. And what we're going to do is we're going to physically flip it. So you place the cup onto the canvas upside down, and then we're going to flip it over like that. And then we're going to lift off to reveal. So shaking that all out. And again, spreading it round. So now you can see you just get a little bit of a different effect there. But like I say, every pour you do will turn out differently. And again, we can get the straw and do some blowing. So the colours have all merged in to just create a different look. So to help with the mess control, every time I do a pour, I'm cutting a new piece of plastic wrap and just layering it over the top, so I'm not working directly onto wet paint, so then my new canvas won't get messy. So for the drawing pins, we want to stick those into the back of this canvas. So just lightly press them in each corner, and this is just going to create a little platform. So then it's got like little stilts, so it will sit slightly above the table and the paint will pour down and off the canvas. So here's another technique where we're going to dribble the paints across. So instead of pouring all into one cup and flipping the cup, we're going to do a little bit of a dribble. So I've mixed up some new colours, and I've got myself that lovely dark blue. So again, when we're mixing these colours, it's like a little science experiment. You're kind of mixing, trying to get that right consistency, always adding small splashes of water. You can always add more, you can't add less, so you kind of build it up. So I've got this turquoisey colour. This is from mixing white, blue and green. Then I've got my pale blue. That's just my white and my blue in there. And also I've gone for some dark blue. So this is black and blue. So you can see they're all at that runny consistency, and I've got some white. Cool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with my darker colours, and I'm going to come across the corner. So I'm going to create like a little scene as though you're kind of looking from above at some water. You can even use the spatula if you want to control how much paint you want to dribble. So now we've got our colours on, again we can pick up our canvas and start to let the colours all kind of bleed into each other a bit more. So you can see how the colours have bleeded into one another, and you can see how these little cells are starting to form, so these little pockets within the painting. But yeah, you can get some really cool effects. Almost looks like the world from above. But yeah, you can use whatever colours and you can experiment around with that. So now for the circular pour, I've mixed up quite a few more colours. So I've got my dark blue, my light blue, my green, yellow, then I've got some coral, pink and red. So to start with, I'm going to put the white down as the base. So just spreading this around, give a nice fine layer onto the canvas. Then we're going to do like a circle within a circle within a circle. So I'm going to start with my dark colour, blue. Just checking first that the consistency is right, that it's nice and runny. And I'm going to pour quite a large dollop on here because this is going to be the first colour. Then adding into that some light blue, slightly less amount. And every time I pour, I'm going to do a slightly smaller amount. So a bit of green in there. As you can see, it's starting to spread around the canvas. So I'm just going to pick it up and again, give it a little move. Now, if you want it to keep its form, don't move it around too much. And if you want to just create some little effects, you can start to blow with the straw. So I might then look and think I might add a bit more dark blue around the edge. So you can see as you blow now, the colours from underneath are starting to come through and you get quite a psychedelic kind of look. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the kissing pour. And similar to the flip cup, we're going to pour some colours into 2 cups this time. And then we're going to pour them together. So I'm going to keep my cool tones in 1 cup and my warm tones in another. So I've got some dark blue, some light blue and some green. And I'm going to use a bit of white, all in 1 cup. And in the second cup, I'm going to use some orange, some yellow, pink and red. So taking a little bit from each cup, and we don't want to use too much because we're using 2 cups. So You've got to think a nice even amount in each cup. Now popping my canvas down. I'm going to this time, instead of putting a layer of white, I'm going to put a layer of black. So just changing it up, showing you all the different possibilities you can create. So I'm going to put a layer of black down, so just spreading a bit of black paint across this canvas using my spatula. So now I'm ready to do my pour. So, getting my 2 cups that have my colours in, we're going to pour at the same time, having them touching each other like this. So you can kind of bend the cups a little bit, angle the paint in and just let it trickle down. So you can see all the colours kind of wind into each other, make quite a cool effect. Then you can wiggle this round on the canvas and again get the straw. So using the black instead of a white, you just get a little bit of a darker effect. And if you wanted to add some more darkness in, you can always blow in the opposite direction, revealing more of the black. So I hope you enjoyed today's pouring art class, and we went through some really fun different techniques. So we had the free pour, the flip cup, the circle in a circle, and also the kissing pour, all create kind of different styles within pouring art. Once you've done your canvases, you will then want to put them in a really safe place to leave them to dry. It can take up to 2 or 3 days for them to completely dry, so just make sure that they are fully dry before you touch them. Once they've dried, you might find that they don't have that glossy kind of shiny look anymore because the paint has dried, and the paint will dry slightly matte. So if you wanted to add a gloss varnish onto that, you can, to give it that shine. We recommend using Montana spray varnish. Just make sure you use that in a well ventilated area. It's really easy, you just spray them on and then that can give it a nice glossy look. But yeah, the more you do it, the more you'll learn about which colours to mix and all the different styles to choose. You might want to get larger canvases and start trying larger pouring art. But there's so much fun to be had with this, and it's super easy and really fun and satisfying. So enjoy!